Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be seeing behind the mask is the fear of the narcissist. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So the narcissist has many fears. I did a playlist on this a few years ago. You should check it out. I did the top 10 playlist for the fears of the narcissist. But for this video, seeing behind the mask is the fear of the narcissist, because the narcissist does not want anyone to ever figure out who they are. They don't want people to figure out that they're not who they claim to be. They don't want people to figure out that narcissism is prevalent on the planet. The narcissist many times hides behind a mask. We now know that. They try to get close to people. They try to infiltrate their lives. They try to figure out what people like, what their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations, their goals, their past, their present, and their future is and or was. The narcissist will leech on to anybody, and I mean anybody who adds value to the life of the narcissist. The narcissist does not care about how you look, what language you speak, the color of your skin, or your background. If you can provide something for them, you are worth an investment. And this is how the narcissist goes through life. They look at people as opportunities. They look at people as ways to leapfrog and elevate their status and their social circle and their life, because the narcissist is always on a constant quest, searching for a satiation of supply, which they'll never find. The narcissist is a bottomless pit. And just when you get close to the narcissist and perhaps you profess to them that you love them, or you want to have kids, or go into business with them, or loan them money, put a house over their head, whatever it was, that's when the narcissist took pause and they said, wow, I really have this one now. I have them exactly where they want them, or where I want them. They believe in the mask. They believe I am one person when in fact I'm somebody completely different. And now I will begin to devalue them. This happens so frequently. As soon as the ink is dry on the wedding, or the ink is dry on the mortgage, or the ink is dry on the relocation of where you used to live and now you've moved in with the narcissist halfway around the world. All these things are pivotal periods in your time and in your life. And the narcissist knows this. They know what buttons to press. They know what to do to get from you what they want. And when they've gotten or taken everything from you they possibly can, that's usually when they will either do one of two things. One, they will crumble you up like a sheet of paper and discard you, throw you away on the freeway like you didn't matter, because that is what the narcissist does many times. Or two, they will keep you tethered to them. Example, they will drag out the divorce, or they will drag out the ending of the marriage. Many times people are living in the same house as the narcissist. They understand that this person that they married is a toxic individual. And what are they doing? They went from romance to roommates. They're now living in one wing of the house, or maybe upstairs, and the narcissist is living downstairs. And this is not a good place to be. When you are living under the same roof as an energy vampire, somebody who's sucking the life out of you, it gets quite challenging day in and day out, month after month, year after year, maybe even decade after decade. The narcissist knows what they're doing. They know exactly how to push your buttons. They know exactly what makes you tick, and they know that you most likely are an empath or a kind, loving individual. Maybe you can't say no, the strongest word in the English language. Maybe you were a people pleaser or a yes person. Maybe you are and or were in love with the narcissist and you can't break that trauma bond and you feel guilty, or you feel bad for them. You need to understand a few things. One, the narcissist can't change. And as long as you are tethered to them in any capacity, your health will continue to take a hit. Your resources will be diminished. Your social circle will be being blown up. And all of your functions, meaning your day-to-day activities, they will become decimated. In other words, maybe you're working and your job is taking a hit, or you don't want to go home after work. I hear this frequently. Many times people who are married to the narcissist, they go home, but they wait an hour or 2 hours, or they go to the gym, or they do something to occupy their time, because they do not want to be in the same household as the narcissist. And they really, this is not a good space to be in, but they really do anything they can to stay away from the narcissist. Maybe they stay later at work and get extra work done. Maybe they're developing an exit plan, but they know when they go home, it's going to be abuse city. It's going to be manipulation. It's going to be gaslighting, stonewalling, silent treatment, perhaps even the smear campaign, blame shifting, you're going to experience rage fits. Now, this is not every day, but it's more often than it should happen. And if you're in a stable or healthy relationship, none of those things should ever take place. If you're in a stable or healthy relationship, sure, you're going to have disagreements, maybe even an argument here and there. No relationship is perfect, but when you are in a narcissistic or toxic relationship, every day is like that. Every day is a challenge. You open the front door, will it be Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde? You buy the right peanut butter from the store, and you come home, and no, it's not gluten-free. It's not the good peanut butter. We need different peanut butter now. And I'm not making light of any of these things. It's bizarre world when you're in the narcissistic relationship because nothing makes sense. That is why the narcissist placed you in that zombie-like, trance-like state, the narcissistic fog, where you're being devalued each and every day. You're holding your breath when you want to answer the narcissist or give them a response because you know any words you say are going to be used against you, or they're going to have a selective memory and say, I don't know what you're talking about. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to work with you. Play that part again. The narcissist was never working with you in the relationship. They were working against you from the minute they met you up until perhaps this exact minute. They do not want peace, serenity, tranquility. They do not want abundance, hope, happiness, and beautiful, bright, shining lights to be rising higher than the sun. What they want is people to stay trapped in the zombie-like, trance-like state where they exist in that narcissistic fog. And that's what happens so frequently in these relationships, specifically the longer you're in them. But one of the fears of the narcissist is that you will see behind the mask. And if you've made it this far in the video, I am certain you have seen behind the mask, or maybe you're getting your first light bulb moment right now, and now you're understanding, oh my gosh, what Andrew is saying is correct. My spouse of X number of years, this is the situation I'm in right now. And this person is checking all the boxes that I'm watching on this video. Well, that's a good thing. It's not a good thing you're tethered to that person, but then again, if you made it this far, you probably were looking for wisdom and looking for education, and that's what I provide for you on the channel, and that's what the community provides for you in the comments section. If this resonates with you, please drop comments below, pay it forward. But the narcissist doesn't want you to see behind the mask. That is when you're in these relationships. There are so many periods of time when you say to the person you're thinking about, you would say to them, wait, I didn't sign up for this, or why am I being treated so poorly? You don't treat other people like this. I only see this with me, and what's going on here? When we got married, we were supposed to be in love and headed in the same direction. This is not, you've totally shifted. You're not doing what you said you would do. You're not keeping your word. You're disappearing for hours on end. You're disappearing for long weekends. You're going out on specific nights with your friends. You're not even checking in with me. You're not answering my texts or phone calls. What's happening? Well, what's happening there is the narcissist's mask has begun to slip, if it already didn't slip. And they're hoping that you're not going to put two and two together and deduce who they really are. The truth is that the longer you're in these relationships, the more the mask slips. And when the mask slips, you can't unsee what you've seen. You need to remember that. There's a reason why exiting a toxic narcissistic relationship requires healing. It requires healing because you were not in a stable or healthy relationship with somebody who was trying to build you up. You were in a relationship with somebody who's trying to tear you down. That's why each and every day it was a challenge to be in that relationship. I'm certain that for some of you, you took notes when you were in the relationship. You probably journaled or took notes on your smartphone about the relationship of the person that you were with. And you said to yourself, wait a minute, what's going on here? I am actually having to document these poor behaviors with the date, the hour, and the time, but I don't know what to do with these things. What you did with those is you took notes so you would remember what the narcissist wanted you to forget. The next thing what you did is if you kept those notes, most likely post-narcissistic relationship, or maybe when you were getting divorced, you looked back and you reflected back on those notes and you said to yourself, wow, that's what this was. This happened 3, 4, 5, 8 years ago, and I was taking notes. Side note, pro tip, if you're ever taking notes about the partner you're in a relationship with, that is a huge red flag. If you have to look up poor behaviors or behaviors of your spouse, that is a red flag. I am not saying not to do it. I'm looking at you and saying you should do it, but the narcissist doesn't want you to do it because they don't want you to look behind the mask. They don't want you to lift that mask up and see what is behind those pupils. They don't want you to figure out that you are being manipulated and that you are trapped in that zombie-like, trance-like state. They don't want you breaking the trauma bond. They don't want you healing. They don't want you learning and growing and becoming awakened and aware. What the narcissist wants is to keep you trapped. Let's fast forward to the discard. If you were discarded or if you ended it yourself, my heart goes out to you. Either way, you were in a challenging relationship that almost took you down for the count, but it didn't. Now, keep this in mind. When that happened, the relationship ended, you had to put yourself back together. You had to dust yourself off up by the bootstraps, and you had to pick yourself up, and you had to learn and find out what exactly kind of relationship you were in. That's when you found the needle in a haystack. Maybe you typed in something in the browser or a search engine, or you went on YouTube and you found your way to education on the narcissistic abusive cycle. When this happened and you did not have the awakening or the awareness about narcissism, you probably were floored when you first realized that any video you were watching, if it resonated with you, it was checking all the boxes off, and you were saying to yourself, oh my goodness, that's what this is? Why was I not taught about this in school? Why was I not informed about this? Why isn't this information prevalent? Why don't people know about these kind of relationships? The truth of the matter is, many people on the planet do know about these relationships. They just don't want to discuss them. And a couple reasons why there. Number one would be because the people that know about them and don't want to discuss them are the toxic narcissistic people themselves. Number two, there are many people that went through challenging relationships like you have, but they didn't get the wisdom, so they can't put two and two together, and they can't identify or put their finger on what kind of relationship it was. Those people are not as fortunate as you are. The third kind of people are the people that they lifted themselves up and they had the courage to figure out what kind of relationship they're in, and one day things clicked and they did get that light bulb moment, and then they said, oh my goodness, that's what this was. Then they went down the rabbit hole of exploration and education, and they figured out that perhaps their spouse or friend or colleague or mom or dad or aunt or uncle or sibling is a toxic person. Once they identified that and they really wrapped their head around it and they figured out that these people can't change, they only get worse over time, because that's what the narcissist becomes eventually. They become the aging narcissist. They do not improve. They only get worse, meaning their behaviors, their mannerisms, the toxicity, the manipulation, the abuse. But once you figured that out, then what you did is you began to heal. You began to journal. You began to see a therapist perhaps. You began to meditate. You began to slow your life down, maybe even process and heal childhood wounds. But you understood that all that energy that was in you, it was going to a bottomless pit, which was the narcissist and the narcissistic relationship. And the narcissist never wanted you to look behind the mask to figure out who they were. So then what did you do? You went down the rabbit hole of exploration about other relationships, maybe other people from your past, and then you identified that they too were toxic or didn't serve you. Whatever words you want to use, it's fine. Point being, then you really looked all around you at your neighbors, your colleagues, your coworkers, people that you go to get your gas or electricity from, the stores that you buy products from, people that you were working with, and then you understand, wow, either a couple things happen. Either these people that you're thinking about now are toxic themselves, and that's number one. Number two, they're in the everyday fog and they don't know any better. That was once you, it was once me. In other words, they're just living day to day. They're oblivious to the toxic behavior that's going on around them. They're just giving people mulligans and giving people passes. Oh, it's just them. That they're from that language or that culture. That's just the way they are. It's no big deal. Well, those people, my hope is they don't go through a narcissistic relationship, but my hope is they get the wisdom eventually. And then the third part would be people like you, who are few and far between. People like you are the people that were through the narcissistic abusive cycle, and you conquered it. You've healed. You've reached that pinnacle of indifference, that mountaintop of indifference. You've gone through something that most people don't go through. You've gone through something and healed from it that most people don't heal from. And now you are awakened and aware, educated and empowered. This is a superpower, and it's a superpower on steroids once you come through the fire and rise through the ashes like a phoenix, because you are a chosen individual to have to go through that relationship. Now, I'm not saying that you're better than anybody, and I'm not saying that you're worse than anybody. We are all equals on the planet. No matter who you are, we are all equals. But what I'm saying is there is a higher power above, or wherever you want to call it, that was putting you to a test, because that narcissistic relationship for you, as for me, was a lifelong learning lesson. There was no other way. You had to go through it. And once you did go through it, and you beat it, and you defeated it, and now you conserve your energy for yourself because you saw behind the mask something the narcissist never thought you would do. Now you're galvanized. Now you enter the third version of you, the strongest, most galvanized version of you possible, known to humankind. This is a place where you never thought was possible. Keep in mind, there are three versions of you. The first version of you was before you met the narcissist. You were probably a people pleaser, a yes person, or living life just thinking everybody thought like you. The second version of you was when you were trapped in the narcissistic fog with the narcissist. You were being devalued. You were being a pawn, a puppet, abused, used, manipulated. The narcissist was doing everything left, right, and center to blow up you and all relationships and all or anything that mattered to you. And the third version of you, the version I'm referring to, is when you've healed. You've blocked the narcissist. You've gone no contact, deleted them, and removed all flying monkeys and people associated with them. If not now, when? I understand not everybody can do that, so if you can't utilize Grey Rock, simply become dull and boring and become small and get off the radar of the narcissist. But the narcissist never thought you would see behind the mask. That is something they always feared. That's why when you're in the relationship, maybe you would have a couple days of pleasantness, of normalcy or stability, and you're really excited and you're happy. You're like, wow, this relationship actually took a turn for the better. This is great. My whole day or week isn't being blown up. As soon as you would say that, whether it would be mentally or verbally, boom, the hammer would drop, because the narcissist has a sixth sense, and they knew at that moment, yes, at that moment, that you were about to get really comfortable because you were happy, because they wanted to give you some happiness so they could take it away as soon as they gave it to you. That's when the shoe drops. That's when Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde appears. That's when you have sleepless nights, you're being gaslit, stonewalled, the silent treatment's going on. That's when the narcissist disappears and they glom onto other sources of supply when they claim they're working or they're doing certain things, because they need to punish you and they need to build up the new supply and make them seem like they're the next flavor of the month or the next new shiny object. This is what these people do. They go from place to place, business to business, relationship to relationship, leaving a wake of destruction in their path. And what they don't want to do, and they fear the most for this video, is to have people figure out that they are wearing a mask. There is nothing to these people. They're shallow, they're hollow, they're empty. They take, and when they're done, what do they want to do? That's right, they want to take more. And they take your identity, they take your being, they take your soul if they can, they take your finances, your health, your social circle, your status. They take anything they can. And remember this one, any of you people, post-narcissistic relationship, if the narcissist tried to draw you back into the relationship, i.e. hoover you, do not, and I repeat, do not accept a hoover. The punishment will get worse. The toxicity will get worse. They will try to draw you back into the relationship, telling you that they've changed. They've seen the light. They've seen a therapist. They found God. They miss you. You're the yin to their yang. They can't sleep without you. They've lost weight. They've gained weight. They just can't function properly. That is all smoke and mirrors. It's from a dark energy source, a person, i.e. the narcissist, who is trying to steal your beautiful, bright, shining light yet again. That is why every time, think about what I'm sharing with you, and please drop comments below. I'm referring to the hoover specifically, although it's not limited to the hoover, because this happened throughout the relationship too. But with the hoover, when you encounter the narcissist, you see them, you talk to them, you read their emails or texts. This is after after you've identified who they are. What they're trying to do there are a couple things. One is trying to draw you back into the relationship. That's a no-no. Number two, they're trying to steal your energy. They're trying to have you pining for them, thinking about them, wondering where they are. Are they okay? Did I do everything I could have done? Should I have tried harder? Do they love me? Have they changed? This is where they're trying to keep you stuck. They don't want you advancing. They don't want you healing. They don't want you moving forward. So really play this part of the message. Play it a few times. Get the wisdom. Accepting a hoover or communicating with the toxic individual, once you have identified that's who they are, it's never going to serve you. The narcissist won't change. They will use the past to try to keep you stuck in the past and to try to keep you trapped in the present with them. That is what a hoover is. A hoover coming from the narcissist, there are a few reasons why it happens. One, because you crossed the radar. Two, because you haven't broken the trauma bond. Three, because you haven't healed. And four, because they need your energy source. You do not, and I repeat, you do not need anything from the narcissist. That is one of the whole challenges of identifying and understanding what the narcissistic relationship is in a nutshell. They twist the words in a narrative and they love bomb you in the beginning to have you believing that you just found the best thing since sliced bread, which is them. And you believe that in the very beginning and throughout all of the relationship, up into and including the ending of it. And then when the narcissist comes crawling back on their hands and knees trying to hoover you, telling you that they're the victim, they can't live without you, they can't be without you, they miss you, all these things, if that's the way they approach you, all they're trying to do is be another wolf in sheep's clothing and come at you from playing on your empathy and your kindness and your ability to reason with people or feel people's emotions. Don't accept the hoover. This is meant to take your energy again. Remember this one. It's going to be either you or the narcissist. That's the way these relationships work, one way or the other. And when I say that, I'm not being dramatic. I'm sharing this with you. Let's say you were in the relationship with the narcissist. Eventually, everybody reveals themselves in time. You need to understand that everybody reveals themselves in time. So when you've identified this person as a challenging or toxic person, you only have two options. One, you block them, go no contact, and begin living your best life. Yeah, you may have to divorce them or split assets or custody of the children. I get that, and I'm not downplaying it. But the other thing is you stay in the game. and you stay in the cycle, and that will draw out longer and longer and longer. And before you know it, a couple of years has gone by, 5 years has gone by, 10 years has gone by, and you're scratching your head saying, I had so much promise. I could have done so much with my life, but I didn't want to break the trauma bond, or I couldn't break the trauma bond, or I didn't do what I needed to do, which was block them. Understand the message. The narcissist will communicate with you. They will hoover around you as long as you allow them. That's why many times people post-narcissistic relationship, they get new phone numbers, they relocate cities, towns, countries. They understand that there are many casualties of the narcissistic relationship, which include time, money, energy, children at times, relationships, people you've known for 10, 20, 30 years, hobbies, businesses, everything. But you need to understand this is your path. This is your journey. It has nothing to do with the narcissist any longer. So leave them in the low vibrational quagmire state. You need to rise to the ashes like a phoenix and enter the third version of you. If not now, when? Everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. Remember that you are not alone. I love you all. God bless you. Have a great afternoon. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. And understand, the narcissist never wanted you to see behind the mask. They feared that one day you did. And when you did, usually they would discard you or deny it, that they are even anything like that, or they will call you the narcissist. But what they would do, I can assure you, is begin to have an exit plan, because now that they're caught onto, they don't want anything to do with you, usually. Understand the message. I love you all. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. All right, bye guys.